Right guys, good to see you. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to become more disciplined. If you're someone who's aspiring to achieve success, whether that's by starting your own business and becoming an entrepreneur, or you want to build a career in music, in sports, whatever it is, if you are aspiring to become successful, then being disciplined is something that will help you along the way and something that will be very important to you achieving your goals. So, how to become more disciplined? That's what we'll be talking about in today's video. So let's dive straight into it. So, how can you become a more disciplined person? But before we dive into the actual strategies that you can use to become more disciplined, let's talk about what it means to be disciplined. Because you see, people throw that word around very often. People talk about being disciplined, being motivated, and they use the word disciplined, but they don't really talk about what it means to be disciplined. So before looking at the strategies to become more disciplined, let's actually talk about what it means to be disciplined. Now, before we do that, you often hear the word motivated or motivation being used a lot. Now, motivation is largely an emotional thing. All right. You might be a very hardworking person and you might be feeling very motivated at certain times, but at other times you are feeling less motivated, less energized, less up for it. You see, motivation is largely based on your feelings and your emotions. And along your journey to success, you have high days and low days. You have times where you're feeling really motivated, really pumped up. And you also have days where you aren't feeling so up for it. But even on those low days, you must still have the ability to keep going. And that's where discipline comes in. Okay, so what exactly does it mean to be disciplined? Okay, what does it mean to be disciplined? Let's talk about that right now. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, being disciplined means that you have the ability to carefully control how you work or behave in order to achieve a specific outcome or goal. So I'll say that once again. Being disciplined means that you have the ability to carefully control how you work or behave in order to achieve a specific outcome or goal. So when it comes to being disciplined, there are really two things at play. First of all is the ability to control yourself. Okay, so being able to control your work ethic and your behavior. And secondly is the idea of working towards some specific goal. All right. So now we know what it means to be disciplined. And obviously, if you're someone aspiring to achieve success, okay, you definitely want to develop self-discipline. So if you're someone who's always wanted to become more disciplined, more dedicated, okay, I'm going to share with you 4 practical strategies that you can use in your day-to-day life to become a more disciplined person. Let's hop into it. Now, the first strategy for becoming more disciplined is to be intentional. Okay? Whatever it is you're aspiring to do, and I don't really care, okay? If you are planning to achieve any long-term goal, whether that's you're training for a marathon, or you want to build a business, or you want to learn skills that will enable you to transition to a new career, or you're trying to learn a modern language, or whatever it is, if you have any long-term goal, okay, you have to be absolutely clear about what you want to achieve and why you're doing it. There are a lot of people that just go about doing things, but they don't have any clarity with regards to what they want to achieve ultimately. Okay, so you have to be intentional with what your goals are and why you're doing it. Because along your journey to success, you will go through tough times. You will face challenges and obstacles. And if you don't know exactly why you're doing this, it's going to be more likely that you'll quit or you won't have the drive to keep you going. All right. So part of being disciplined, okay, being able to control how you work and you behave, okay, part of that is knowing exactly what you're fighting for, or so to say. Okay, you need to know exactly what you're aiming for ultimately. So you need to be intentional about what your goals are, and you need to know why you're doing this. So, for instance, if you are aspiring to buy a house, all right, and you've opened up a savings account to start saving up money for the deposit. Now, saving that money up isn't going to be easy, at least not on a 9 to 5 job. All right. Now, if you didn't have that overarching goal of saving up to buy a house, it might be harder to discipline yourself to save up thousands of pounds to get a deposit for a house. But now you have a goal that you're working towards. It should be easier, okay, and more likely that you'll be able to discipline yourself to actually set aside that money. Okay, so guys, that's the first strategy to becoming more disciplined, which is to be intentional about your goals and know exactly why you're doing it. Now, the second strategy for becoming more disciplined is to start small. One of the mistakes that people make, and I'm guilty of doing this myself, okay, if you are trying to make any change in your life, or you are working towards a long-term goal, okay, one of the mistakes that people make is trying to make big changes within a very short space of time, or trying to make overnight changes. And this rarely works. First of all, because you are putting yourself under a lot of pressure. And second, you haven't given yourself time to adapt and adjust to the new skill or the new lifestyle or new schedule, okay? You haven't given yourself time to adapt to the change. So most of the time, you will not be able to hold onto it, okay? It just doesn't work out. So in whatever it is that you're doing, okay, in order to foster discipline or to build discipline, you want to start small, okay? Just start small and make the decision to stick with it, okay? So you want to start small and you want to put in the effort to show up every single day. By starting off small, you are making it easier for yourself to be consistent and also making it less likely that you quit. Over time, okay, you'll be building up a positive habit of showing up every single day and doing things that you set out to do, the things which are important, the things which are going to move you forward. Okay, this should get easier and easier over time as you are building up that habit of showing up every single day and being disciplined. Okay, it should get easier and easier. This will then result in you being able to take on more load or being able to take on more challenging tasks. And by that time, okay, it shouldn't feel too stressful because you've already conditioned and built the discipline, okay, that you need to operate at this level. Okay, so that's what it comes down to. Okay, so you're going to start small and build a positive habit of showing up every single day and doing the things that you set out to do. Okay, as you condition yourself to be more disciplined, you then want to take on more load or try more challenging things and try to be just as disciplined with those more challenging things as you were with the initial smaller tasks. But this also has an additional benefit. Okay, by showing up every single day and doing the things that you set out to do, that you schedule for yourself to do, okay, you'll also be able to trust yourself a lot more. Why? Because you've already proved to yourself that you have the ability to follow through with the things that you set out to do. Okay, so for instance, if you want to take on a new challenge or a new venture in the future, it's going to be easier for you to believe that you can accomplish that new task or that new challenge because you've done something similar in the past. On the other hand, if you set yourself a goal and you didn't show up, you didn't put in the work, or you gave up halfway through, or you threw in the towel and it failed, it's going to be harder for you to honestly look at yourself in the mirror and believe that you could do something like that again in the future. Because when you were faced with a similar challenge in the past, you flopped, it failed, you didn't put in the work. Okay, so you're not going to really believe in yourself to be able to do something like that in the future. So that's an additional benefit of this idea of just starting small, being consistent, building up that positive habit of being disciplined and gradually working towards taking on more load. So that's the second strategy for becoming more disciplined, which is to simply start small and then build it up from there onwards. Now, the third strategy for becoming more disciplined is to track your progress. Guys, in anything you're doing, it's very, very important that you are able to measure your progress, or at least able to see how far you've come. Okay? This is important for two reasons. First of all, and it should be very obvious, but tracking your progress allows you to see how much progress you've made. Okay? It allows you to see how far you've come, and it should also tell you how effective your strategy is. But there's also something else as well. Okay, if you are able to see your progress, okay, that can be very, very rewarding. Okay, there's something immensely rewarding about being able to see the progress you've made, especially if you are doing this for the first time, or you are attempting something that is extremely challenging, or something that you once thought you could never do. Being able to see your progress and see the progress that you've made is immensely satisfying. And as a result, that should give you the extra push to keep on going in order to see more progress and therefore experience that same kind of satisfaction. Now, the fourth strategy for becoming more disciplined is to remain silent. I don't know who you are watching this. I don't know where you live. But if you're someone who has a natural tendency to boast, to brag, and to tell people about all your future goals and things you want to do, then this is something that you need to listen to very carefully, okay? So make sure you continue watching. If you are aspiring to do anything in the future, okay, if you have any big goals or big ambitions, things that you have planned for the future, you should try and avoid announcing your plans to everyone, okay? You should really try and avoid telling everyone what your future plans and future goals are. And this is for two reasons. First of all, not everybody in your life actually has your best interest in mind. Okay? Not everybody in your life has your best interest in mind. There are certain people that you know who actually don't have your best interest in mind. Okay? So if you go around telling people your future goals, your future plans, okay, if it ends up in the ears of the wrong person, okay, that individual could find a way to sabotage your plans if they have the capacity to do so. Okay, and I know this sounds shocking, but in some cases that could even be members of your family. I know that sounds unbelievable, but in some cases, and I've heard stories, it could even be members of your family, relatives. Okay, yes, people can become envious of each other. All right, so that's the first reason why you shouldn't be going around announcing to people all your big goals, the big dreams, your big ambitions, okay? Because not everybody out there has your best intentions in mind. If you have to share those goals and ambitions with other people, make sure that you're sharing it with trusted individuals, perhaps someone you're working with or an accountability partner or buddy, okay? Someone that you trust. But once again, please refrain from the urge to go out announcing to everyone what your big goals are, okay? There's no need for that. Keep your card close to your chest. Now, the second reason why you don't want to go around announcing your big goals to everyone, you know, standing on the rooftop and telling the whole world what your goals are, okay? Another reason you don't want to do that, and what I want you to pay attention to, okay? Another reason you don't want to do that is because it will cause you to become less disciplined. And I'll explain how. You see, a psychology journal once showed that people who go around announcing their future goals and their future plans and ambitions are actually less likely to achieve those goals and ambitions. Now, why is this? It's very interesting. Well, you see, when you go around announcing to people what your future goals and future plans are, your brain releases a chemical known as dopamine. And for those of you that aren't aware, dopamine is the chemical, or it's a hormone that's responsible for inducing pleasure. Okay, so dopamine is naturally released in any kind of pleasure-related activity. Okay, that could be things such as enjoying nice food, okay, listening to music, socializing with people, engaging in intimacy or sex. Okay, when you go around announcing all your future goals and future plans to other people, your brain by default will release certain amounts of dopamine. And this will cause you to feel accomplished, like you've achieved something. Okay, now, for people that do this, you're not going to be aware, but it happens at a subconscious level. And the things I'm about to describe are typically what happens. All right. So when you go around announcing to people what your future goals are, what your future ambitions are, okay, your brain will release certain amounts of dopamine, which makes you feel accomplished. Now, because you're feeling accomplished, or your brain has tricked you into feeling accomplished, okay, you will then have less drive to actually go out there in the real world and accomplish that goal that you told people you were going to accomplish. Okay, and this is what happens a lot of the time. People who are going around boasting about, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Okay, those people, a lot of the time, don't actually complete the things that they said they would do. And you don't want that to happen to yourself. I don't want that to happen to you either, which is why I'm telling you. All right. So with any big goal that you have, try and refrain from the urge to announce to everyone what your future goals are. It's not in your best interest. All right. Because once again, your brain will trick you into thinking that you've accomplished something, that you've achieved something big, when in reality, you haven't achieved anything. All right. And you therefore have less drive and less motivation and discipline to actually stick with the journey needed to actually achieve that goal. On the other hand, if you don't tell people, if you aren't going around announcing all your future goals and future ambitions, the only way you're going to get that immense sense of satisfaction is by putting in the work, toiling, sweating and grinding, and putting in the work to actually achieve that long-term goal. And that will contribute to making you a more disciplined person. Wow, isn't that the topic of this video? How to become more disciplined. Okay, so we're coming right round in a circle. Okay, so this is the fourth and last strategy that I wanted to share with you in helping you to become more disciplined. Okay, which is to remain silent. So basically, refrain from announcing to everyone what your future goals and ambitions are. Once again, keep your cards close to your chest and let the results speak for themselves. So there you go. Those are 4 strategies that you can use to become a more disciplined person. All right. So let's have a quick recap. The first strategy to becoming more disciplined is to be intentional. Okay. So be intentional about what your goals are and why you want to do it. Strategy number 2 is to start small in anything you're doing. Okay. Don't try and make big changes overnight. Okay. Start small and build the habit of working consistently over time. And then later on, you can take on more challenging tasks. It will also result in you being able to trust yourself a lot more. The third strategy for becoming more disciplined is to track your progress. In anything you're doing, find a way to measure or track your progress. It will help you to become more disciplined. The fourth and last strategy for becoming disciplined, and what we just talked about, is to remain silent. So once again, you want to refrain from the urge to stand on the rooftop and announce to everyone what your future goals are. Okay, it's not going to help you in the long run. Okay, you'll be a lot more disciplined if you aren't doing that. Just focus on achieving your goals and, again, let the results speak for themselves. So, as you can see, being disciplined isn't about achieving perfection. Okay, no one's perfect. Okay, this isn't about achieving perfection. Instead, it's about developing a key characteristic or trait which is essential for helping you reach your full potential and ultimately achieving success. So guys, if you found this useful, do consider subscribing for more. Give this video a like and feel free to share it with anybody else who might find it useful. Thank you very much.